We begin tonight in the Federal Capital Territory, where the second edition of the Ministerial briefing is taking place. The series is a platform where key federal government officials are expected to provide regular updates on projects they've implemented so far. The session kicked off with the Ministers of Livestock Development, Alhaji Idi Mukhtar, and Regional Development, Mr. Abubakar Momo. The Tinubu administration hopes to demonstrate its commitment to open communication and good governance through the series, which will be open to the public. Amadou Uyi reports from Abuja.
It was the commencement of the Ministerial Scorecard series, an attempt to update citizens on the performance of the current administration. The Minister of Information and National Orientation gave details of the two ministries taking the first spot, expected to give their update to citizens.
The Ministry of Livestock Development was created in July of 2024 to transform Nigeria's multi-billion-dollar livestock potential into actual economic prosperity for Nigerians. While the Ministry of Regional Development was created in October 2024 to oversee the activities of the country's regional development commissions, again created by His Excellency.
He says that the ministers from the Regional Development Ministry and the Livestock Development Ministry were fully prepared to give their scorecard.
These two ministries have since hit the ground running, the two ministers. And they are here today with us to shed more light on what they have been doing since the creation of their ministries and what Nigerians expect to see of them going forward.
Both ministers then took their turns to inform citizens of the activities being done in their respective ministries.
Since the creation of the ministry, being first of its kind, we are in the process of being demerged from the mother ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. And today, we have been able to form a very, very solid team that have already started traversing the length and breadth of this country, meeting sub-regional governments, stakeholders, traditional rulers, development partners, and embassies in this country.
When the ministry was established, that is, the regional development is to coordinate the activities of the regions. But before then, we were able to coordinate the activities of the Niger Delta region. The first thing was to go around the entire Niger Delta region to see for ourselves the problems in this area. And we were able to visit critical stakeholders, including traditional rulers and a number of persons in the Niger Delta region.
The Ministerial Scorecard series is part of activities preceding the celebration of President Bola Tinubu's second year anniversary. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadou Uyi.
Professor Bola Akintanewa is a lecturer at the Achievers University, Ondo State. He is also the Director General of the Polytech Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies. It's good to have you tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being with you.
Well, critics are calling this ministerial scorecard briefing a self-appraisal exercise. How do you see it?
There's no way one will not look at it as self-appraisal, which is normal, first of all. I subscribe to the school of thought that looks at it as songs of praise for oneself. Because in Nigeria of today, we are supposed to have what you know more than I do, Freedom of Information Act. But the issue is that it has been very difficult for the people of Nigeria, for the citizens of Nigeria, to ask for information needed to educate the general public. It has not always been easy. So if the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration decides to come forward with their own version of the truth, with their own version of the information, nothing is wrong with that. Our own is to now sit down, query, accept, disagree with what they claim to have done. I think it's a welcome development. More importantly, since they are looking at this thing from the perspective that come May 29, it will be half term. So it is good. It is a very good strategic calculation to want to change the perception of people before that date.
Well, wait a second, sir. What criteria should be used to evaluate the performance of these ministers? And how should their scorecards be measured against these standards?
In many ways. First of all, the government had a manifesto, an agenda, setting out the objectives. So we should first of all start with the objectives. To what extent has the government laid foundations for attaining the set objectives? Is there any strong foundation? The achievements, are they consistent with set objectives? Second criterion will be the extent to which hunger and anger has been, factored into their achievements, into their goals. Because you see, many people hold the belief that there is hunger in the land, there is anger in the land. So if the achievements of the federal government are not able to respond to hunger in the land, to anger in the land, then how will you be talking about achievement when political governance itself has two main, two principal objectives, that is
Professor,
security, welfare, happiness of the people?
Shouldn't it then be that the people should be the one giving the ministers the scorecard and not they themselves?
You cannot be more correct, but it has to be both ways too. The government must lay claim to having achieved some set of objectives, but that is one school of thought. The other school of thought is to look at it. Are you telling the truth? And that's why you should be commended by raising the issue to now say, okay, the government is purporting to have done X, Y, Z. What is your own view? So the people will sit down and evaluate. It will be both ways. It cannot just be one.
So what should be done? What should be done to underperforming ministers when measured against those standards?
Case, when a minister is not performing as expected, the natural justice is you kick him out. You kick her out. There's no second. There's no option to that. If by 2 years you cannot lay claim to having done something concretely, why should you be there? What are you doing there?
Professor, do you expect President Tinubu?
When a ministerial post is not a primary school, is not a secondary school where you begin to learn. You must have learned, you must have acquired sufficient knowledge before coming there. You come there to come and perform, not to come and play.
Right. So do you then expect President Tinubu to kick out some ministers come, his going into the third year?
If President Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants to think rightly, because this is a question of political will, yes, he should kick whoever is not performing well in his own interest. Because now Nigerians are increasingly becoming more educated day after day. Even Jimmy Cliff said, the more you live is the more you learn. So if Tinubu is not learning as at today, then he will be undoing himself even for 2027.
Before I let you go, this isn't the first time the federal government will embark on a ministerial briefing. We saw a similar approach during the Buhari administration. What impact do you expect the briefing series to have on this administration's deliverables as we count down to President Tinubu's second year in office?
I think trying to educate the public on his efforts so far have the potential to improve or to shape the perception of his administration. He simply wants to say he's doing well, therefore take it cool. I'm not yet there. I'm yet to attain my objectives, but bear with me. Look at what I have done. Appreciate this. Then look at it when I come back to seek your goods. Please see it objectively. I think that's what they are trying to do. So it's a major impact, positively too.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor Bola Akinteriwa, a lecturer at the Achievers University, Ondo State. It's always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita Joy.
The Osun State High Court has ordered the state's Independent Electoral Commission to conduct elections for the vacant positions of local government chairmen and councillors in all the 30 local government areas. The order was given on Friday following a suit brought before the court by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, one of the parties participating in that election. Justice Adeyinka Aderibigbe, who gave the order, also asked security agencies to secure the region ahead of the polls. Some residents say the state has become very insecure as a result of violent disagreements between members of political parties.
Second order. Another of these honorable courts is granted, directing, mandating, and compelling the defendants to fill the vacancies across the 30 local government areas of Osun State through a democratic process by proceeding to conduct the local government election already scheduled by the defendants for 22nd of February 2025. Number 3, another of these honorable courts is granted, directing, mandating, and compelling all the security agents comprising of Nigerian Police, the Nigerian Army, the Department of State Security Services, that's DSS, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, the National Drugs and Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, the Amotekun Corps, the vigilante groups, etc., to provide adequate security and maintain peace and order.
Meanwhile, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke insists local government elections in the state will hold as scheduled. This follows an appeal by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, asking Governor Adeleke to postpone the February 22nd poll. Fagbemi noted that the ousted chairpersons of the local government areas must first be reinstated since the Court of Appeal had dismissed the judgment of the lower court that sacked them. Welcome back. You're watching Tonight on News Central. I'm Adeshawa Josh. A reminder of our top stories. Nigeria's ministers begin briefing series to showcase scorecards ahead of second anniversary of President Tinubu's administration. Osun State High Court orders State Independent Electoral Commission to conduct elections in all 30 local council of the state. And G20 ministerial meeting closes in Johannesburg with discussions on global politics and regional ties top of the agenda. The Federal High Court in Lagos has ordered the permanent forfeiture of $4.7 million, that's about 830 million naira or so, and multiple properties linked to the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. Justice Yellim Bogoro, in a judgment delivered on Friday, also ordered the final forfeiture of investments worth $900,000 traced to one of Emefiele's close relatives, Anita Joy Omoile. The court also ordered the final forfeiture of another $4.4 million worth of investment traced to Deep Blue Energy Services Limited, as well as another sum of 283 million naira in Zenith Bank traced to Liman Investment Ltd. The House of Representatives Committee on Constitutional Amendment has declined all 31 proposals for new state creation. The committee rejected the motion on the grounds that they failed to meet the basic requirements outlined in Section 8 of the 1999 Constitution, which requires a request supported by at least 2/3 majority of members representing the area demanding the creation of the new state, as well as a majority support from both houses of the National Assembly. Applicants have until March the 5th to resubmit their proposals. Fred Nziako, a constitutional lawyer, joins me now from Abuja for more on this story. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Can you talk us through? Can you talk us through the specific constitutional requirements that the proposals need to progress to the next stage, and perhaps even why it failed?
Well, I'll be more interested in why it failed, and Nigerians are more interested in why it failed. And Nigerians should rejoice that it failed. As a matter of fact, I never expected that it would be given any modicum of consideration by the National Assembly, because it is a laughable proposition. It is a laughable request, which is not founded in reason, not founded in reality, and not founded in economic consideration or whatever. But one state extra on top of the 36 states, when the 36 states hardly will take care of themselves, what is the meaning of such fragmentation? When we are shouting that the recorded expenditure of government, both federal and state, are so heavy that little money is left for capital projects that will really make the country's economy to move. And you now want to even create more problems, because extra states will mean extra budgetary allocations for the current expenditure. So it is really a very baseless request, and the one that is expected that National Assembly should throw it away. They're giving them the option of coming back on March 5th to come and represent, is just to fulfill our righteousness.
Right.
Because no reasonable person will go back for to the presentation.
At the same time,
yes.
At the same time, we cannot discard the wishes of the communities asking for the creation of states. How do you respond to those people?
You can't talk about wishes, because the old adage says, if wishes were horses, beggars will ride. It is not every wish that will come to fruition. It is not. If every wish will come to fruition, I tell you that Nigeria will have about 100 million presidents and about 100 million governors. So, because if you're considering wishes, we're talking about reality. We're talking about issue, the crux of the issue that stares us in the face. That we are even asking that the 36 states be shrunk, should be reduced to 6 geopolitical administrative states. If you would like, call it 6 zones, call it 6 regions, call it 6 states, so that each geopolitical zone, as we have today, will form an administrative zone, in which case, instead of having 36 governors, you have only 6. Instead of having 36 bureaucratic structure, houses of assembly, judiciary, civil service, and all of them, we have just 6. And you see that the country will move a lot, because at the end of the day, large quantum of resources will be released for capital projects, for research and development, and for all those things that will move the country forward. In a situation where about 65 to 65% of our budget of each year is spent on servicing the brokers, it's a very challenging situation that does not allow the country to grow. And now you want to even increase it.
Right.
Let me tell you that out of the states, virtually about 2-3 states can take care of themselves. And they do so essentially because of either their position or the natural resources that they have. And the rest of the states will only go to Abuja to got their own share of the financial account and come back to pay civil servants. So many civil servants in many states have not received their pension and gratuity. Many of them that have retired are left to languish in agony, waiting for their retirement benefits. And the same people will come back to say we create additional states. I think those people that are asking for creation of states are only looking at their own selfish interest.
Right.
Because they want to be, they want their own fiefdom. They want to be lords of the manor. They want to have their own territory where they will become.
Fred, allow me to come in here. Let me come in here and play the devil's. Let me come in here and play the devil's advocate, in the sense that perhaps the reason why these people are clamoring for their own space and their own state is because they feel marginalized. Could this be also like a scorecard on the leadership of some of these states? I mean, unfortunately, we're not privy to the information. We're not privy to the detailed list of the communities asking to break away. Perhaps this has something to do.
I do not think that the feeling or the cry of marginalization is at the root of the demand for creation of states. What has at the root of the demand for creation of states is just because some people want to be lords of the manor. They just want to have their own chiefdom. They just want to lord it over others. They just don't want to work or cooperate with some others. As a matter of fact, Nigeria is about 223 million people, with occupying a land space of about 723,000 square kilometers. We're not the largest in the world, rather are we very small. And it's very obvious that a lot of the mineral resources in Nigeria, which is rich and huge, are being wasted. And because of the two-sided structure of our federation, I expected these people to be talking very seriously about how to get our structure right, so that we will make good use of resources that we have and also reserve them for the future. Like today, what you see is that a kind of scramble for natural resources, both from within and without. Nigerians will collude with foreigners to come and steal our natural resources, gold, diamond, and tin, columite, all of them, through petroleum and at the end of the day, what are we leaving for the future?
Right. We're going to have to leave it there, Fred. We're going to have to leave it there.
I advocate strongly, instead of taking more steps, we should think of bringing them down.
Thank you so much. And perhaps they should just scrap March 5th and not even bother to go through the resubmission. Fred Nzeako, a constitutional lawyer, thank you so much for speaking to us tonight. Still ahead on the news. Fears grip travelers as fire breaks out at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. We have details after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Tantita Security Services and the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, have intensified their efforts to tackle oil theft in the Niger Delta. At a stakeholders meeting in Warri Delta State, both agencies renewed their commitment to protect the nation's oil fields. News Central's Biola Festus reports.
Since its engagement by the federal government of Nigeria with the task of protecting oil pipelines in the Niger Delta, Tantita Security Services Nigeria Limited has been working shoulder to shoulder with various security operatives to dislodge oil thieves in the oil-rich region. One of such security agencies is the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, which is also charged with the responsibility of protecting the nation's critical infrastructure. As partners sharing similar goals, the NSCDC was on an operational visit to the Tantita Security Services in Warri to strengthen their cooperation and strategies on combating oil theft.
I want to sincerely thank you. This your visit this time is actually going to be a very big morale booster for both our people and your people. They will know that they have a leader who values their welfare, who, if we maltreat them, will always call us to order. For them, Tantita value their people, we value our staff, we value our friends, we value our partners. And so I'm sure that you cannot get any complaint from any of your personnel about us. I just want to welcome you to Tantita. I want to tell you that this collaboration is something we value and we want to maintain, and we expect that on your part you are going to also keep this collaboration flying, and you are going to help us to achieve more.
Public-private partnerships have proved to be effective measures in service delivery globally. This is evident in the synergy between Tantita Security Services and the NSCDC.
First, I want to thank you for your support, your collaboration. We have seen now really that, yes, no service has monopoly of any strategy as far as curbing this menace is concerned. Whether we like it or not, today, as of today, the mainstay of Nigerian economy is still oil. And it is going to be our collective decision, to come together really to protect this very precious gift that God has given us. And we have seen that it is going to be done well when we have private security companies involved in this kind of business.
Both the NSCDC and Tantita say they are pleased with working relationship between their field personnel and want the collaboration to continue for more success.
I'd like to tell you that Tantita is doing very well as far as we're concerned, because our members, our staff are with you. We are collaborating with you, and you are also doing your best in the area of welfare of the staff, because we have been getting information that they have been taken care of. And so, like you actually also pointed out, we can see that the oil production level capacity has improved. When the whole thing started, it was around 600 to 800, and now we have over 2 million. This is very, very unprecedented. This is good, and I know that the government will encourage all of us. The government will continue to encourage all of us to give our best as far as protection of these pipelines are concerned. So far, we have not, we didn't hear any problem that will make us to disagree.
Tantita has not only brought sanity to the creeks. The streets of Warri, the oil city, are now enjoying relative calm and serenity thanks to Tantita's engagement of youth who were once out of job. Between 2022, when Tantita Security Services Nigeria Ltd was awarded the pipeline surveillance contract, and December 2024, Nigeria's crude oil output has picked up significantly from about 800,000 barrels per day to 1.8 million barrels per day. In Warri, for News Central, Biola Festus.
A grassland fire on Friday broke out at the northern part of Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Authorities confirmed that the fire was not near the airstrip and did not disrupt flight operations. A spokesman for Kenya Airways said that emergency response teams had successfully contained part of the blaze. Operations at the airport continued without interruption. The Kenya Red Cross reported on social media platform X that emergency teams were present and actively battling the fire, ensuring it did not pose any further threat to the airport or its operations. The G20 ministerial meeting has just concluded in Johannesburg, South Africa. This significant gathering not only brought together the world's foreign ministers, but also served as a platform for critical discussions on global politics, trade, policies, and regional cooperation. News Central's Bongani Ziziba has more.
The G20 ministerial meeting marked a pivotal moment for international relations with the participation of foreign ministers from the world's largest economies. They engaged in bilateral meetings and side discussions tackling pressing global issues, including the impact of the ongoing conflicts. In his address to the assembled ministers, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa emphasized the importance of African unity. He urged countries across the continent to collaborate closely in addressing shared challenges, highlighting the pivotal role Africa plays on the global stage.
As we strive towards a common purpose, I think it is important that we should remember that cooperation is our greatest strength. Let us seek to find common ground through constructive engagement. Through the G20, we should be able to set the coordinates of a new course for human progress, one that is founded on solidarity, equality, as well as sustainability.
South Africa's Minister of International Relations, Ronald Lamola, reaffirmed the essential role of the G20 in fostering a resilient and cohesive global group. He outlined the collective responsibility that G20 nations hold in navigating the complexities of today's geopolitical landscape.
The meeting that we have just had two main purposes: to have a high-level strategic discussion on the global geopolitical environment and its impact on our work, and a reflection on South Africa's G20 presidency's priorities and high-level deliverables.
The meeting also served as a platform for intensive dialogue on trade and adaptive trade policies, taking center stage. The G20 members deliberated on how to enhance global trade dynamics amid shifting economic realities and tensions, particularly those tied to the U.S.
Concerning the ongoing conflict and wars in Africa, the Middle East and Europe, the meeting reiterated that all states must act in a manner consistent with the purpose and principles of the UN Charter. Affirmed that all parties in conflicts must comply with their obligations under international law, including international humanitarian law and international human rights law.
However, the meeting was not without its challenges. The shadow of the Russia-Ukraine war loomed large, causing some ministers to feel uncomfortable aligning with the Russian delegation for a traditional family photo. This highlighted the growing divides within international alliances and the consensus-building efforts required for the G20. As the dust settled on the Joburg meeting, the outcomes underscored the critical need for collaboration among nations, not just in Africa, but globally. The G20 remains pivotal in shaping the future of international relations amidst rapid changing dynamics. In Johannesburg, for News Central, Bongani Sizip.
Well, it's time for some money talks with Adebola. Adebola, what do we have? Well, in business, we're learning that Binance has accepted Nigerian government's lawsuit to file for damages. Details of that shortly.
News in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
In the world of business, Binance has acknowledged the Nigerian government's lawsuit seeking $81.5 billion in damages and unpaid taxes, naming the exchange and executives Tigran Gambayan and Nadim Anjawala as defendants. Filed by the Federal Inland Revenue Service in Abuja, the case alleges Binance violated tax laws, failed to register for compliance, and contributed to economic distortions. The suit demands $79.5 billion for damages and $2 billion in unpaid taxes, plus penalties including annual interest and additional charges based on the CBN's lending rate. Now, Binance, which halted Naira transactions in March 2024 amid regulatory scrutiny, awaits further legal development. An International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, team has concluded an 8-day safety review of Ghana's nuclear power plant site selection process, now conducted from February 14th to 21st. The IAEA's mission assessed Ghana's compliance with required guidelines. Ghana has identified a candidate site along with alternative site, with the next phase focusing on site characterization. Hosted by Nuclear Power Ghana, NPG, the review included global expert and site visits. The body also provided a seed capacity building workshop to support Ghana's nuclear energy development for clean and secure power generation. At the end of today, on the floor of the Nigerian exchange, we saw in the oil share index shared the point of minus 0.07%, and that closed at 108,494.40 base point. And now for the market capitalization, that's settled at 67.56 trillion naira. Going to the sectoral performance, where we have 5 categories there, we saw 3 sectors in the red category, and that's the banking, insurance, and oil and gas, while consumer goods were in green category. Losses were recorded in the banking sector at minus 0.55%.
Insurance dipped by minus 0.25%, and also negative in oil and gas at minus 0.58%. Some positive there, the highest being consumer goods at plus 0.63%, and of course some gains are recorded for industrial goods at plus 0.10%. That's a wrap on business news tonight.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
Take a look at what's happening in the world of sports with Tunde Koiki. Tunde, what do we have?
Well, where do we start from? A ragtag Nigerian team defeating host Libya at the FIBA Afro Basket qualifiers, or the fact that the UEFA Champions League has thrown up some mouth-watering ties. We'll talk about all that and much more after the break.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
Hello and welcome to Sports. Holders Real Madrid will face city rivals Atletico Madrid in the UEFA Champions League last 16, setting up a titanic derby. Madrid, who eliminated Manchester City 6-3 on aggregate, will now battle the side they beat in the 2014 and 2016 finals. Bayern Munich will take on Bundesliga challengers Bayer Leverkusen, managed by Xabi Alonso, while Liverpool will meet Paris Saint-Germain after the French side's 10-0 aggregate playoff annihilation of Brest. Elsewhere, Barcelona face Benfica, Arsenal take on PSV Eindhoven, and Internazionale Milan will meet Feyenoord. Aston Villa, playing their first knockout stage since 1983, will clash with Club Brugge, while the first leg matches will take place on the 4th and 5th of March. Former Super Eagles striker Victor Anichebe has been appointed Special Advisor on Sports to the Southeast Development Commission. In this role, he will oversee the implementation of the Southeast Grassroots Recreation Infrastructure Development Program. Anichebe, a former Everton star and Olympic silver medalist, will serve in a voluntary capacity, focusing on developing grassroots sports in the region. The SEGRID initiative, executed in collaboration with the Southeast states and private sector partners, includes coach training, youth academies, regional tournaments, and club integration. The program aims to build world-class sports infrastructure in the schools and communities while addressing youth empowerment and insecurity. Now all is set for one of boxing's biggest cards when Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol clash in a rematch for the undisputed light heavyweight title on Saturday, the 22nd of February in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. However, the co-main event, IBF heavyweight champion Daniel Dubois will not defend his title against Joseph Parker after the Briton fell ill. Dubois was medically evaluated and withdrawn 2 days before the fight, with no details on his illness disclosed. Parker will now face Congolese heavyweight Martin Bakole, who steps in as a late replacement. Bakole, who has 21 wins and 1 loss, recently knocked out Jared Anderson and is on a 10-fight winning streak since his only career loss in 2018. He had been scheduled for a title elimination against Nigeria's Efe Ajagba in May. To Spain now, and Luis Rubiales' appeal against a 3-year FIFA ban from football has been dismissed. Football's world governing body suspended the former president of the Spanish Football Federation from football-related activities for 3 years in October 2023. It followed a kiss on the lips of Spain player Jenny Hermoso during the medal ceremony for the team who won the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup final. On Friday, the Court of Arbitration for Sport, a panel dismissed Rubiales' appeal and determined that his behavior at the presentation ceremony constituted multiple and serious violations of the FIFA disciplinary code, adding that the sanction imposed is reasonable and proportional. And that's all we have on sports. It's back to you, Alishawa.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
whenever I see Edewo right behind me, I know it's time for some entertainment news. Edewo,
Yes.
what do we have?
Well, you know how it is. Every Friday it's new music, and yes, Burna Boy is not left out, but I'll bring you all the details shortly.
All right.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
All right, so talking about new music, Burna Boy has dropped Update, a new single ahead of his highly anticipated 8th album, No Sign of Weakness. Yes, following the Bundle by Bundle, the track showcases his signature Afrobeat sound featuring infectious local drums, rhythmic percussions, and his powerful vocals. Now produced by P2J, Update captures the energy and authenticity fans expect from the Grammy-winning artist, accompanied by a visual stunning video. Now the single offers a glimpse into Burna Boy's creative vision for his new era. With no sign of weakness on the horizon, Update reaffirms his dominance in the music scene as usual. Big ups to Afrobeat.
Have I heard of that?
No, it's new. Probably you should go check it out.
Do you know, can you sing a vamp from it?
Just Updates. All right, and a special update on this. Diddy is in the news. Yes, Sean Diddy Combs faces a new legal setback as his attorney, Anthony Rico, has withdrawn from the defense team, citing an inability to continue representing him effectively. That's what he says. Now, Rico provided no further explanation for his departure, but assured that it would not delay Combs' trial scheduled for May 5th. Despite this, Combs still remains with his lead attorney, Mark Agnafilo, and Tenny Garagos, who have been handling his case since federal raids of his homes last year. Now, Combs, 55, remains in Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center after being federally charged with racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and other crimes in September. Now, prosecutors accuse him of organizing, the exploitative freak-off events using blackmail and violence to silence his victims. Now, he actually pleaded not guilty, but faces numerous lawsuits from individuals alleging abuse and exploitation. Now, I think Diddy has a lot coming for him. Well, that's all we can take on entertainment news tonight.